What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Right now, we're going to talk about something that's pretty controversial in the finance market, and that's Bitcoin. We're going to talk about what Bitcoin is, how you get a hold of it, the most efficient way to receive it, the way you store it, the current value in it, and ultimately, the point of this video is that I think within 10 years from now, it'll be completely devalued. It'll be worthless, and I'm going to explain why. And I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way that I know that there's going to be a ton of flack and criticism on this video, and I don't care. If you want to comment, feel free to share your opinion. That's all it is an opinion. Um, Most of you that are talking about Bitcoin now just got into Bitcoin within the last year or 6 months, or ever since it became like this big trend. And us that are in the tech scene have been following this since Bitcoin's conception in 2009. So in fact, I didn't even hear about it in '09. My first hearing about Bitcoin was probably October of 2010 when I got in really big into PC building. And yeah, so that's where I first heard about Bitcoin. And of course, back then it was just it's still an extremely volatile currency. And that anyway, let's talk about how you get Bitcoin. There's two ways you get Bitcoin. You either invest in it, so you find a company that's got Bitcoin and they're exchanging it for a fiat currency such as USD Cash. So you pay a capital amount, so Bitcoin. So if you want an actual full Bitcoin, it's like 15,000 bucks right now. So um you exchange $15,000 in exchange for one Bitcoin. Now, where the benefit to purchasing Bitcoin comes from is that the market seems to be driving up, regardless of the volatility of the coin. The current market trend is that it's continuing to going up for at least right now, anyway. So the benefit to purchasing Bitcoin now is you have if you buy a full Bitcoin, $15,000 worth of Bitcoin, you're going to most definitely have some sort of immediate return on your investment pretty quickly. Um, I'm not going to say it's going to double overnight because it's certainly not. That's not what the market trend has proved. But you can make a pretty substantial amount of cash on it pretty quickly. Now, what makes Bitcoin the okay, I'm sorry, I kind of sidetracked there. The other way you acquire Bitcoin is mining it, and there's a few different ways to mine it. The most efficient way to mine it is a CPU based small PC where you stack several of them in a row called ASICs. And ASICs are micro PCs that run at 100% of the time, and their sole purpose is to go through the blockchain solving mathematical algorithms in Bitcoin block to unhash the block or unhash the coin. So, if any of you know anything about the current mining and replication of Bitcoin, you all know that there's approximately 12.5 Bitcoins per every Bitcoin block, and that will replicate every 10 minutes until like July of 2020 or something like that, where after that valuation or that replication will drop in half for 4 years following until the next halving, and that will drop down, and it's supposed to continue doing that till like year 2100 or something, or until about 21 million bitcoins have been produced. So there are a limited number of these things. That's part of where the value in them comes in, is because as you mine more and as more people mine more, less become available. There's going to be a point in time where all of the coins are mined and no one is available to get anymore. Now, the good news about this is we are nowhere near the max capacity for the amount of blockchain that's been run through, the amount of blocks that are left. There's still plenty of mining you can do. In fact, we're still 2 years outside the first halving of the Bitcoin. So it is still replicating at 12.5 bitcoins per hash block every 10 minutes. So unless you have a rig or a set of rigs that are mining 12 and a half bitcoins every 10 minutes, there's no way to keep up with this. So where the However, that's not where the main value in Bitcoin comes from. That adds to it just a hair, but that's not where what we're banking on here. What people are banking on with Bitcoin is the fact that it's decentralized. And with decentralization, what that means is that there's not a big bank controlling this stuff. There's no overhead officiating party monitoring this coin. It's completely peer to peer. So you're willing to pay X amount for it, or you're willing to exchange X amount of tangible goods for it, depending on the value of Bitcoin that I'm willing to exchange for it. You agree. You exchange the good, and I exchange that amount of Bitcoin into your Bitcoin wallet. And that's just how it works. There's no government agency it has to go through. You don't pay taxes on it. All the good stuff. So, you can set this stuff offshore. It's also a worldwide currency. It's not it's not like the U.S. dollar where it's worth more here than it is in Japan, or worth less in Russia than it is here. It's worth the same no matter where you go. It's a universal currency, quote unquote currency. It's not really a currency at all. So, it comes into the fact that you can use it offshore. It's decentralized. It's not covered by a big bank. It's also not regulated by a large federal organization, and there's no government or federal backing to it whatsoever. Now, while that's partially a value to Bitcoin, it's ultimately part of what's going to lead to the devaluation of it. And actually, let's go ahead, since we're rabbit trailing into that, let's go ahead and start touching on that. And then we'll kind of move into how to get a hold of it. And we'll start with why it's going to be devalued. And then I'll move on my position on Bitcoin right now, where I think it's going, and why I think both. Okay. So, what's ultimately going to lead to the devaluation of the Bitcoin is mainly the fact that it has no Federal Reserve backing to it at all. So, I don't know if you guys are aware, but a couple of weeks ago, a company called NiceHash was robbed of $4,700 worth of Bitcoin. It was just under $70 million worth at that point. It's gone up about $2,000 per coin since, which makes it worth like 70.5 million right now. So about 70.5 million is what it's worth at $15,000 a coin. So here's where the misconception comes with Bitcoin. Okay, everyone who's currently investing in Bitcoin are pretty much all told that the SEC has your back when it comes to Bitcoin. That is completely not true. The SEC does not treat Bitcoin as actual currency, and lots of people think that they do. They do not. If you've ever heard that, it's a myth. If you go to SEC's website, you might find kind of sort of mentions about a gray area they're going to cover and not cover. But let me explain to you generally what the SEC will cover. If you exchanged actual currency for a Bitcoin, the SEC will do what they can to receive to enforce to keep enforcement laws on the fiat currency exchanged for the coin, not the coin itself. So if you invest 15,000 in Bitcoin and you lose that 15,000 in the transaction process, whether it be through an ICO or whatever it is that you choose to do with it, however you acquire the coin, that transaction of the 15 grand, the SEC will back the 15 grand because it's a fiat currency and it's government regulated. If that $15,000 disappears, our government economy hurts, or our US economy hurts as a result of that, because it's money that was originally meant to go into our economic system that is no longer there. And that's where a fiat currency trumps a digital currency. The fiat currency, because of that reason, that's the reason the SEC will back it. They're not going to back the coin. There's no tangible value to Bitcoin at all. It's not really worth anything. All cryptocurrency is a sequence of encrypted data or code, computer code, an encrypted file that you store in a what you call a wallet, which is really just a encrypted folder. Now, there are many ways to store it. There's hot wallets, which are constantly online, accessible wallets on a PC that's connected to an internet connection the whole time. There's cloud-based wallets, which is like, in my opinion, the worst way you could store Bitcoin, period. And then there's your two best ways, which are cold wallets and cold PCs. Now, a cold wallet is only hot during the time that you're moving coin to and from the wallet. So you connect to the wallet, you move coin in or out of it, and then you disconnect that wallet from the internet. That's a cold wallet. A cold PC is one where you transfer the coin to the PC and put it in a folder in that PC, in the encrypted folder, using some form of removable media, and that PC has no connection to the internet at any time ever. So, even if you move some sort of backdoor program with your coin, there's no breach because there is no access to that PC whatsoever. So, even if you moved a Trojan backdoor onto that PC, let's say you moved your encrypted files over with a flash drive. In fact, I've got one right here. So you moved it over using this bad boy. Once you get it on the PC, and as you can see, there's actually an old PC in this photo that's a cold PC. Now I don't have Bitcoin stored on it, but I do keep my finance documents on that PC. And the reason why is I don't want that information being hacked. It's got my account info, passwords to certain things. And it's all stored on that PC back there. And it's because there is zero that PC's running. It's got Microsoft Office 1995, I think, and it's got Windows 95. Now, so that'll tell you how old it is. It has zero internet connectivity at all on that PC back there. So it doesn't matter if I move a form of malware to that PC back there, whether it be adware or spyware or some sort of backdoor Trojan virus where someone has root access to that machine, because there's no way for them to connect to it. It has to be connected to the internet for that to happen. So that's the best way to store your Bitcoin if you're going to do it. So now let's talk into current value of the Bitcoin, where I think it stands right now and where I think it's going in the future. Actually, let's step back a little bit. We're gonna rabbit trail into this. NiceHash. 4,700 coins was stolen from NiceHash. Kind of got off base there for a second. It's worth $70.5 million at this current point in time. This is not the first time this has happened. This is one of about a dozen large-scale Bitcoin thefts that have happened over the course of the past 10 years, maybe. What makes NiceHash's breach so important is the fact that it's the only one that has occurred during the big craze of cryptocurrency. It's the only one that's occurred during the time that Bitcoin is in like this huge fad of investment and trading right now. So, why is that a big deal? Several more of these will occur as transfer markets become bigger, like NiceHash. Once other ones become bigger, hackers will seek to find vulnerabilities in their software. They will find it and steal large amounts of coin. Okay. The result of that is going to be that we're going to want some sort of government officiating committee or organization to have some sort of tangible backup to this product. We're going to want someone to have our back or have their back, whoever's investing in the either the recollection of their funds or the prosecution of the people who stole the coin in the first place. At least the investigation to find out who did it. And see, none of that exists right now. You lose Bitcoin, you lose Bitcoin. They're not. I mean, you might get a little help depending on how much money it is and how much effort people are willing to get involved in. How much money you're willing to sink into it. However, as far as like a public service, like a common police theft that you have right now, where if someone steals something from you, it automatically goes into a State Department case, and they have to defend themselves against the DA. Pardon me. That's not going to happen for you with cryptocurrency. So you're eventually going to want to get to a point where you want some sort of government governing agency to have your back when it comes to this stuff, which requires a few things. First of all, it requires that government to have some sort of tangible backing to the government, to the currency in some way. Whether it becomes, um, a gold precious metal backing that's worth a specific amount per weight, or a reserve note backing, there will be some sort of way that Bitcoin at that point would become regulated. Some way. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what that way is. I don't know what way any government agency would choose to back it. It doesn't even mean it would be the United States. Could be Russia, could be anyone, whoever chooses to take the lead on this. The second vulnerability point of that would be is that once that happens, that currency becomes centralized to that specific country. Whichever country chooses to back it is the one who gets to claim the currency. So it could be Zimbabwe, doesn't matter. Whoever chooses to fork out the money to regulate the currency is who gets a hold of it, which ultimately leaves that the administration issuance behind the currency becomes, it's not decentralized anymore. It's centralized by big market banks and big hand bank organizations. So it goes from a digital currency that's decentralized, that you have no regulation on and no taxation on, to a coin that is taxed, that there will be some physical form of, regardless of whether you want there to be or not, that government agencies do have the ability to seize, and it then becomes a fiat currency. So all of the things that make Bitcoin have value disappear because of the fact that we will eventually want regulation on this coin. It's going to become too large for there not to be at some point down the road. I don't know when that time is. I'm not going to pretend I'm a fortune teller. I'm just going to guess that it's within 10 years or less. So now all of the skeptics watching this video can either come back and make fun of me in 10 years and talk about how stupid I was, or you can come back in 10 or less years and talk about that you heard it from me first. So, however, my guess is that Bitcoin will be no more in 10 years. Well, I mean, it's not that it won't be there; it won't be anymore. It will have zero value. People won't be investing in it anymore. Now, my position on Bitcoin, current times, and what I think you should do with it long term. Okay, right now I think Bitcoin's a wise investment. I'm not deterring anyone from investing Bitcoin in 2017 at all. In fact, I'm encouraging it, because you can guarantee that if you invest in Bitcoin right this very second, 6 months or a year from now, you're going to make a substantial amount of money on it. That's a given. If you can afford to invest in Bitcoin, I would advise investing in Bitcoin. I don't know that I would go through a firm. We have a company here locally that works kind of like a stock brokerage business for Bitcoin and altcoins, and I don't know that I'd go that route more than I would look to seek to purchase an amount of Bitcoin directly. I don't even know where to tell you to go to do that, or mine it. You're going to give a percentage of your mining up to whatever firm you choose to mine for. But if you got a computer powerful enough, mine it, because whatever you mine is going to be worth substantially more later down the road. So that's my advice short term. Long term, I don't know that I would completely pull out of Bitcoin, but I can go ahead and guarantee or guess that within 10 years you're going to lose money on Bitcoin. So, because of the probable devaluation I'm speaking of is going to happen within the next decade. So, while I'm not going to say you need to pull all of your money out of Bitcoin, I certainly wouldn't sink my entire retirement investment on this digital currency. It's too volatile. There's too many vulnerabilities to it. And think about this: with every new ICO and altcoin that arises, it brings a vulnerability into the existing coins that are already available. And you can try and disagree with that if you want, because there's multiple investors, meaning investors can buy more than one coin, which is true. However, there's only so much money available in the world. So, regardless of what you think about that, there becomes a point where you cap at the value of this stuff, And once regulation hits on it, it just plummets from there. But there's only so much money available in the world anyway. It's not like we're on this endless track of this endless amount of money that everyone has, and the number just goes up digitally on a computer screen, because that's not how the real world works. So I would certainly not sink my entire investment, my retirement on this. I would get in, make some good money over the next few years, and then get out, and then invest in some tangible form of investment, whether it be company startup or refinancing or additional investors. I would do something you could get some equity in, and then some actual equity, and then invest that way. So that's my advice, guys. That's it for today. I may record some more and post some more videos up tomorrow or later this week. I'm generally trying to keep them about one a week. There's just some hot topics that I want to stay on and get them out of the way. So this is one of them. I just did one on net neutrality that got posted, and then there's a electronic device that I posted earlier. I don't know if I'm going to post it before or after this video, so I'm not going to say much about it other than it's really revolutionary technology, and I'm really excited about it, especially for people that are in my boat. So if you like what you saw, make sure you hit that like button. If you disliked it, make sure you hit that dislike button. I don't care either way. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you dislike my video. I know this is a controversial subject. Not everyone's going to agree with me. In fact, most people are probably not going to agree with me, because it's not cool to disagree with a fad at the current time. That's exactly what I'm doing right now, is disagreeing with a very popular fad. So I expect the hate to roll in, and I don't care. I have a feeling I'm going to be right. And then you guys are going to be standing there with your thumbs up your butts in 10 years wondering where all your money went. But neither here nor there. We'll find out who's right in 10 years, right? So like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you dislike it, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more controversial topics and or things revolving around technology or news or politics or anything really. This channel is going to come to a lot of things. So if you really like what you see and you want to stay in touch, make sure you click the little bell beside the subscribe button. That will make sure that you get a notification every time a new video is posted here. So I really thoroughly enjoy or thank you guys for taking the time out to watch my videos and supporting what I do. I really appreciate that. So until next time, I'm Aaron Lockhart, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.